Welcome to the Sound of Movement podcast. Today we're continuing our week on training psychology. We're also learning how to not be tongue-tied. Now today we're going to be talking about how adaptation and supercompensation work. This is going to be a really important one for you if you want to make some serious gains in the gym.
Let's rock. If you're new to the tribe, we got Rich behind the mix. Rad is at the table with me, Yanni Bormeister, and we are Unity Gym experts at turning driven people into athletes. This episode is brought to you by the Unified Movement System, the only online program effectively balancing strength, flexibility, and fitness so you can unleash your inner athlete. This weekend, you have an epic opportunity to get a lifetime discount on daily coaching by us, plus our amazing Foundations prep program and revolutionary structural balance blueprint that we use to create your ideal programs and optimize your performance. Remember, guys, as a valued listener, you will get exclusive access to that sale that's starting this Friday, and any other time you can grab a free month if you use the link in the description. Before we get started, warm welcome to everyone joining us live on the UMS Movement Mastermind Facebook group. Leave a comment and we'll send you back some love. Remember, anyone can join that group and interact and ask us questions like one of the questions we're going to be answering today from L. Darling. Lastly, before we do, shout out to the YouTube athletes catching the replay. Hit the like button and support our channel. Subscribe if you like what you see. Today we're joined again by Nilesh from ADPT Physio. How are you today, brother?
Good, mate. Good. How are you guys?
Very well. Yeah, good.
How are you, Richie? Get one word in before we kick things off.
Pretty good. But I don't have a mic, so you can't hear me.
Why? Why can't we hear Richard? He was there, if anyone's wondering. Okay, look, we're going to dive straight into the psychology, training psychology around training split, and we're going to go deep into supercompensation and training adaptations, just like Brad said. And I'm going to kick this off using a good question from L. Darling from the UMS Movement Mastermind. Elle has said, so maybe this is a question for when you finish the Foundations program, referring to our Foundations General Prep program, because there is a certain muscle I want to focus on growing, but while going through the program, I don't feel like I'm getting enough exercise for a specific muscle. Thoughts? ? And a whole bunch of people have jumped in, Rad included. First of all, asking what the muscle was that she's talking about, and as it turns out, it is the glutes, and which is surprising to say the least, because the glutes are, which we're going to talk about now, an area of the body that we are absolutely doubling down on in the UMS Foundations program. It's a priority area of the body that we want to strengthen. But before we dive into that, what I want to talk about today and how I want to frame this discussion is by asking you guys a question. Have you ever had a friend or a training partner or seen someone in the gym who seems to turn up every day and do the same muscle groups, the same workouts, the same movements? A great example that I'll share is I used to see a lot of people turn up every day and just do chest and biceps, which I certainly did when I first started out in the gym. And you know, we get addicted to the pump. We get addicted to that feeling of being swole, baby, and especially on the muscles that we can see in the mirror. I don't know if the girls get that addiction as much as the boys do, but us guys certainly do. And this is another example for you know, and Elle has highlighted this. The girls tend to you know, want to really hammer the glutes. That's an area of the body. Glutes and abs, I've found with girls. Boys, it's bis, tris, and chest, or chest and shoulders, you know. And you know, which brings us to a very important topic, which is the principle of supercompensation, which supercompensation refers to the point of adaptation where the adaptation is the highest, and if you're maximizing supercompensation effect, then you're re-stimulating that body part or muscle at the exact right time, where the adaptation and repair process is peaked and it's about to start tapering off. So if you left it longer before you re-stimulate that area of the body, then you actually start to lose the gains that you've made. And when we're not a professional athlete, like the people that Nilesh is working with on a daily basis outside of his clinic here at ADPT Physio and Unity Gym, then you're generally just trying to balance this with time and effort. You know, when you bring an athlete into the picture, you've got to work everything around game day and when they have to go out and perform. So it becomes a little bit more methodical and straightforward. Just don't fuck with game day, you know.
Right.
At all costs, don't mess with game day. But when we don't have a competition to prepare for on the weekend, it's kind of up to interpretation. You know, it's like, all right, well, how do I work out so that I get the results that I want? And you don't have any big thing that you can't mess with. You know, you basically can just go in and batter yourself all week, and as long as you get enough recovery on the weekend, generally you're sort of okay. You know, but at what point do we start to diminish returns and essentially interfere with that supercompensation effect? Let's have a deep discussion about that now, and you know why it's important to really understand this, because I'm sure we've all fallen victim to the pump, the pump methodology. How freaking pumped and jacked do I feel? You know, I see so many people do a wicked upper body workout on Thursday, only to come back and repeat the workout on Friday to get the Friday night pump before they go out.
So the shirts are tight.
That's the shirt. Yeah, fill the shirt. You know. And long term, that actually really can stifle progress, because you just never letting the body recover properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think there's a couple of things here, Pharrell. The first thing I'd say is that I can relate to what you're going through. I remember in my early days, long ago, with training and trying to feel like I wanted to bring up a certain muscle group, and I felt like the workouts I was doing weren't doing it for me, and I needed more of that. But in the earlier days, there's a lot going on, and one of the things that comes to mind is that often it's not that you need more of something. Often it's more that you need to learn how to engage the muscle, and more you need to learn how to feel how that muscle creates movement. And there is some really good movements in that Foundations program for you to do that. Like all of the split squat progressions are quite heavy on the glutes, and you can make them even a little bit heavier by just leaning forward when you go down and then hinging back when you come up, so you're creating more flexion and extension in the hip joint. That's going to bring more glute into it. And then of course the single leg squat, single leg deadlift, single leg Romanian single leg good mornings. Those are massive glute exercises. Like by the time you get to that single leg Romanian deadlift, like there's a tiny bit of hamstring. I mean, the hamstring helps that movement, but man, are you going to feel that in your glutes? Like that is a glute burner.
Can I just put this on pause for a sec? Can we just recap, just to jog my mind, the training split for the Foundations program? Because under my interpretation,
it's bent arm strength, squat day. Well, it's bent arm strength, squat day.
So squats is glutes?
Bent arm strength, glute day.
Yeah, there you go.
Deadlift day, sorry.
Deadlift day is glutes.
Yeah.
So there's 2 glute days out of a 4-day training split in the Foundations program.
Yeah.
Which is why I was saying it's like there's ample glute stimulus there.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go any more than that, you're probably, unless you're really well trained, you're probably going to stifle supercompensation.
Well, this is the thing. So the first thing is that it's quite possible that you're not understanding how to activate the glutes properly, which requires just refinement of technique and learning how to engage muscles, right? Like being a physio, I'm sure you probably deal with this more than we do, where you're trying to show people how to engage a certain, like when I've gone to physios, that's been a big part of it. It's like, no, use this muscle to create the movement. No, use this muscle.
Yeah, it's funny when you say the squat, everyone just goes, oh, it's quad day.
Yeah.
But actually, the initiation of the squat comes from your glutes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The bottom phase, it's glutes initiating that slingshot. So
Yep.
I think people kind of get shied away when they're like, I'm not isolating, so I'm not training it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like your deadlifts, your initiation of deadlift is the same as the bottom of the squat. You're getting that glute.
Mm-hmm.
So I think emphasizing on that L would be, it'd obviously take you far than just going, I should do some barbell bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the on Friday when you do those all of those hip hinge exercises, so in order in the Foundations program, it starts with a single leg squat, then it goes to a single leg deadlift, then it goes, either way, it's either the single leg deadlift first or the single leg squat, whichever one it is, but it finishes with single leg good mornings, man, they hammer your glutes.
If you do them properly.
If you do them properly, which means you've really got to watch the cues, because if you do a mechanical drop set, meaning that if your glutes are so weak, or you're not doing what I said before, where you're stabilizing and your pelvis is twisting or your body's rotating and you're basically just doing
or your trunk flexing.
Or your trunk flexes.
As opposed to hinging at the hip.
Yeah, so if you keep your pelvis square, if you make the movement happen from the hips, not from the trunk, not from the spine, and you load up enough weight, you're going to feel those glutes working. You really are. And when I can do those exact same exercises that you're doing in foundations, and I'll do it with anywhere from, maybe depending on how many reps I'm doing, 20 to 40 kilos, and my glutes are on fire from it. Like it kills me. But then also what I'd like to say is Lee Thompson has said something really good here, where they're saying, the course is designed to fix imbalances in the body. You will grow your glutes, but blah, 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 blah. Once you have built a solid foundation, your glutes will be bigger with solid squats and deadlifts, but without injury. That's really important to understand, because that ties back into adaptation and supercompensation. And the goal of the foundations program is not to hypertrophy the glutes any more than it is to hypertrophy any other part of the body. The goal is to work out imbalances in the body, teach good movement patterns, primarily to fix imbalances between flexibility and strength, and left to right and pushing and pulling movements. Those are the three main areas of structural balance that we work on in the foundations program. And guess what? That's why it's called a foundations program. It's the foundation. When you move into progressions, if you want to hit your glutes, man, can we show you how to hit your glutes. But if we try and give you that in an early stage, when you haven't built the foundation for it, you're just going to do what everybody else has done.
You'll be seeing me, because
you
you haven't built a base, because you haven't hit the foundation program. You haven't built a base or your big pillars.
Yep.
And then you've gone into some single leg work and you're like, oh, I'm getting adductor pain. My adductors hurt or tighten up, or not, my glutes are not working. So you're exactly right, Rad.
Yep. Yeah. And so I want to come back to saying, like, it is really understandable what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. Many people have gone through this before. It's like, you don't know if what you're doing is going to produce the result you want, and what you're thinking is, well, I can't feel it in my glutes and I want to grow my glutes. But this is what I've said many, many times, and I'll say it again now. When you choose to work with a coach, I think that it's really, really important that the only real questioning that you do, like you can ask, you can say, hey, why am I doing this, to get an understanding from it. But you really want to choose carefully when you choose your coach. But once you employ the coach, do what they say almost blindly. Like, just do what they say, because if you chose correctly with a coach, they've got a plan for you that you don't understand necessarily, but you need to follow it. And if you don't follow it, if you just go, I don't feel that this is giving me what I want, well, yeah. I mean, I know that I wouldn't be where I am if I had of questions.
Well, sorry, I need to cut you off there, because first and foremost, the foundations program, there are two areas of the body that it absolutely hammers. The first one is shoulders stability, rotator cuff strength, and scapular control. And the second one is glutes and hip stability. And then if we could throw a third one in there, it's forearm and wrist strength, elbow strength, to avoid tendinopathy, golfers, tennis elbow, things like that. So it's very, very important that people understand, and Elle understand, that this program is specifically designed to really work the glutes. And the main reason how it does that is that everything is unilateral. Split squats, single leg deadlifts, so you're really getting that counterbalance, that hip stability. You're not just working the major glute muscles, the outer muscle that you can sort of see. You're working the stabilizers as well, which is really important. You're working the lateral glute muscles as well, the lateral movers. And so, yeah, there's an element there that you just have to really make sure that, first of all, just trust that this is a priority muscle group in that program. But it's not a bodybuilding program. It's a program that's designed to work body muscle systems, and that's very important. And that's where the psychology part comes in, the training psychology. Like, what are you training for? We're not going to sit you on a glute abductor machine and train a muscle for visual purposes and detrain a system for functional purposes. That's definitely what the program doesn't do, but it it is absolutely training the glutes. And so what then I would challenge is, if you're not feeling the glutes being trained, then there's an issue with your muscle activation and recruitment. And we all have imbalances. And if those imbalances mean that you've got very, very dominant quads or something like that, and when you do movements like a split squat or a single leg squat or something like that, then your body's really dominating the movement in the quadriceps, then maybe you may need to look at doing like a glute activation exercise prior to the primaries. We've got a good video on YouTube on how to, I used to call it waking up sleepy glutes, just because that's something that someone will understand. But it's really just about getting a stronger neural connection to the glute muscles by doing some sort of fatiguing clams or lateral band walks. I use about 3 or 4 really, really easy exercises that you can use just to fire up the glutes a bit, improve that proprioception. Sometimes it's even a really good idea just to lay prone on the ground and stick your finger or your thumb into your glute muscles and do kickbacks. And so you can really feel them activating. And that, for some people, is enough before you go into like a split squat or something like that. What do you think?
That ties in really well with most of our boys. Before they lift, they go do we call it a primer session.
Primer, yeah.
I'm sure that's different names for it, but they go do your glute, your side planks, your clams, your side plank with clams.
Yep.
Single leg bridges off a bench. There's variations there of isolated glute stuff, but I think it's important to remember that the squat is such a glute priming movement that people forget. And you're right, there might be a technique kind of thing to address if you're not feeling your glutes at the top or actually not feeling you initiate the squat. But most of our boys go through and they do a little primer setup, which is ideal to do if you feel like you're lacking in that area.
And we in the gym here,
I'm getting reminded of the UMS now, and just in phase 1, and these progresses. I mean, listen to this. So on Tuesday, we're doing side step-ups and hamstring curls. Then we do front foot elevated split squats with supine glute bridge. So 3 sets of each of those. And then when we move, so there's split squats and supine glute bridge on one day. And then on Friday, we're doing single leg deadlifts.
And hang on, the hamstring curls are Fitball hamstring curls, right?
Yep.
They're huge.
Isometric glute. Isometric glute, yeah.
Yep.
And then on Friday, we've got single leg deadlift, massive glute exercise. And then a supplementary is frog pumps.
Yeah.
There is so much glute work in that program, honestly.
It's a booty
That's
program.
what I'm saying. I designed
It's a booty program.
I designed the program to be a booty program because that's generally where people are deficient when they come in, and it's that area of the body that we want to make really super robust, And then when we move to progressions, we start by doing a low barbell box squat where we're really emphasizing hip drive and the hip hinge component of the movement. And then on Wednesday, we offer a athletic performance and development variation that replaces straight arm scapular strength for calisthenics, where we do all glutes. We do as a primary, we do a glute bridge, a barbell, heavy loaded glute bridge, and then we do lateral glute work as well. So the program just continues to do glutes, 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 glutes. Now, what it doesn't do is it doesn't isolate the glutes like in the machines that you use in the gym, which cancel out everything else. But there's a reason why we don't do that, because that has no carryover to athletic performance.
No functional capabilities.
No functional capabilities whatsoever. So, you may have muscles that are dominating the movement, or you may just need to load them up more, But what I would challenge Elle to do is to post a video of her doing the movements in the UMS group. I mean, look, we try not to do specific coaching in the UMS Movement Mastermind because we've got a whole group of people in the UMS online coaching group that are paying money every month as a subscription to get coaching from us. So we've got to be careful where we go with this. But, I would still challenge Elle to post a video of herself doing some of these movements in the group, and she'll get some feedback, whether it's from us or from our admins and our moderators who are coaching clients of ours, who will be able to tell her whether she's doing the form correctly. Because there are ways that you can not have good technique, which is going to negate from how much you experience the movement in those areas of the body that you're trying to experience them in, like AKA the glutes. If you're doing a single leg deadlift or any deadlift pattern and you're folding in the trunk, you're not really rigid in the trunk and your erector spinae isn't really switched on and activated, then you're going to be essentially doing a Jefferson curl, you know, as opposed to a really getting the glutes going. You know, if you're doing the frog pumps or what are they called? Glute bridges, hip thrusts, and you're not activating the abdominals to hollow the body, you're not going to emphasize the glutes, and you're going to be arching your back and still getting the movement somewhere else. So there are little areas that you do need to really focus on. But then barring that, you just got to become process focused and trust that there is so much glute work in that foundations program.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much load she's also putting on these lifts as well, because it is very glute or posterior chain focused, which is great, but it'd be interesting how much she's actually lifting.
Yeah, that's right. So. Yeah, absolutely. And hey guys, this is like, for any of you watching and listening to this podcast, this is why we have the online coaching program. So that that's what we do every single day. Straight after this podcast, we sit there and analyze here on the stream. We analyze everyone's videos. Yep. The difference between the UMS Movement Mastermind and the UMS online coaching group is the online coaching group. We do a little bit of like priority topics that we need everyone to know around the programming and the mesocycles and the program phases we go through. Other than that, the entire half hour to an hour is spent with us just critiquing people's videos that they've posted to make sure that their technique is dialed in, make sure they understand what they're doing, and give them feedback. So, you know, anyone who's sort of watching this going, oh wow, you know, I'd like to get a little bit more help with my movements and progressions, take the opportunity this weekend to grab the online coaching subscription at half price for the life of your membership. It's a really, really great opportunity. We only do it twice a year. We do it once now, and we do it once on Black Friday. And that's it for the entire year. You only have those two opportunities to come into the group for half the price, and that membership stays that rate for the life of your subscription. Anyway, we're going to bring this one in for a landing today. Do you have any final thoughts, guys? Rad?
Trust. No, I'm just getting ready for the online coaching call. Trust the process. Trust the process. It works. Just follow it. Just stick to the program and keep moving through the phases. That's how periodization works. That's how progressive overload works. That's how adaptation works. You don't just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
I've got nothing now, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Literally trust the process.
Okay, how about this? What's your favourite glute priming exercise? What do you use for the athletes?
Bands are just above your knees.
Yep.
Side plank into a clam and hold for 60 seconds.
So you actually extend the leg straight.
Yep, and hold it.
And hold it for 60 seconds. Ooh,
that way you're getting good isometric hold, and 60 seconds doesn't sound long, but trust me, after 30, it's a very long time. So do that for about 3-4 sets, and you'll have a good priming.
Yeah. Richard, what's your... have you got a mic on?
No.
Oh. Yeah.
Next time.
Okay. I was going to say, Richie's got the perkiest ass out of all of us. I was going to ask him what his glute priming exercise is. Yeah, mine is like a lateral band walk. The band under your feet, like on the forefoot, and that makes a big difference because you're now pushing external rotation on the feet as opposed to having the band under your knees, where the external rotation of the toes isn't pulled into it. And go up and back a couple of times, 20 steps to the right, 20 steps to the left. And your glutes are going to be fired up. The lateral glutes are going to be fired up. And I really just love like a donkey kickback against a cable or a band, you know, kneeling, quadrupled leg extensions, leg raises, where you're on all fours.
Another little goodie I've found is actually simplest exercise, single leg bridge.
Yep.
But put a ball between your knees and squeeze the ball. So your hamstrings turn off, and it just isolates your glutes.
Yeah.
Do about 20 reps of that. You'll notice your glutes just...
So like a foam roller or something?
Yeah, like foam roller, golf ball, tennis ball, and just do a single leg bridge.
So your feet are right together. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, awesome. There you go, guys. There's a lot that you can take away from that one. I hope that helps you. Keep going through that program. It's a phenomenal program. And remember, it is an all-over body program. It's a general preparations program, so it's designed to prepare you for bigger things to come. That's what you should get excited about. And if you haven't already, get yourself into that UMS online coaching group. Big love to Clay. He's the only one that commented out of everyone watching live today. What's going on, Tribe? You're letting us down. We would have sent you some love. I don't know what you're saying there, Clay, about Shire. I don't know. Anyway,
We're
out for today. Everyone jump over to UMS Online Coaching. We'll see you over there in just a minute. Otherwise, everyone else, we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to continue the discussion on training psychology. Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, it's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.